Hey guys, I changed my little cartoon dude again. I know I want to have a cool cartoon character moving around on screen. I just don't know what I want that character to be yet. So just bear with me until I figure out what that's going to be, and I gotta stop sucking at drawing as well. It's gonna happen any day now, I swear. Anyway, let's start the video. Shop design. We've all played games with shop mechanics, and on the surface it seems pretty simple. But how do you design one from the ground up? How does money actually work and affect the world of your game? Do you just randomly give players some cash and hope they can find value in your randomly priced items shops? Nah fam, you gotta get mathematical up in this bitch. I tried talking about this once already and it ended up being this 15-minute rant about all the different types of shops and how each one should be designed, except I've never created a fucking shop before, so what the fuck do I know? And I don't have time to edit that shit, so here we go again. Consistency and fairness. That's what it all boils down to. Pricing, whether you're buying swords, cities, or anime waifus, it has to make sense. Let's use Divinity's Original Sins 2 potions as an example. Mostly because I couldn't think of any other game that has multiple levels of potions. So here's the stats for the 5 tiers of healing potions, although that's not the numbers I really care about. What matters is the shape of each metric when you graph them out. Similar, right? What about the armor potions? Poison potions? This is consistency. The developers didn't just manually figure out the prices of each item and hoped it made sense. Every item is passed through a complex formula and a price is spat out the other side, an amount that makes sense to the world it lives in. You can tell they're all passed through the same calculation by these similar bumps in each graph. Do I know why the bump's there? No. Do I know how to do the calculation? No. But that doesn't matter, because what I do know is that they're fucking consistent, damn it. The truth is there is no gold standard formula that I can give you. You're gonna have to do that work yourself. You'll need some kind of metric that determines the impact of the item, like DPS of a weapon, and then you pass that into a mathematical formula that you create, and it makes sense to your game. That's really all the advice I can give you about that. You gotta figure it out. Spreadsheets are your friend. Fairness is a little bit more complicated to break down. It's very subjective to each game, but if we stick to Divinity's example, there were no random counters in Divinity, so money is a finite resource. There's also an extensive crafting system, so the pricing of all these potions is actually very low compared to the amount a player earns, and that's fair. And of course, everything I'm saying is a gross oversimplification of what this is, but that's less than 15 minutes, so do your own research, nerd. So what does this have to do with my game? Well, I made a shop. We got upgrades, baby. Now, at the start of the game, all the collectibles have a small chance of spawning. When you purchase one of the 7 unique upgrades, the spawn chance increases. Simple, right? Well, actually, no. I had a ton of balance issues, and they're not entirely done yet. There's a very delicate balance between making the game fun or easy. If the chance of spawning is too low, the game's boring and uneventful. If it's too high, the game's too easy, especially with the body color. The game might never even end if the odds is too high. But while trying to figure out that balance, I had another one of those big brain moments. Rather than just trying to find those perfect numbers, the odds of the collectible spawning are now hooked into the body's length. So the longer the body is, the higher the chance of something spawning. This is okay because the longer the body is, the higher the chance of you missing the collectible. These are some of my favourite moments in game design, when you just have an idea and it just clicks, and suddenly this big problem you have just isn't that big of a problem anymore. And as I said, the balance still isn't 100% right. Specifically in the early game, it's a bit boring compared to the end at least. But I think I'm going to need to wait for some player testing to get feedback about what everyone else thinks about that, because maybe it's just me because I played so much of the end game. And even with the balance changes, it was still possible to get lucky, and you could have an infinite round, and that doesn't really match the vision I have for the game. So there's still a missing piece in this game design puzzle, which brings me to the perfect segue of my feedback to date. As I'm making this video, the first 2 devlogs have gone out, and some of the advice you guys have given me has been really great. Specifically, shout out to this sexy animal for this suggestion of negative collectibles that would be larger and harder for the player to avoid. A few back and forth messages later, and I think I might have a solution to the missing piece of my puzzle. If the snake mechanic isn't enough to make the game challenging, I need to increase the difficulty as the score gets higher. Kinda like how Tetris does it, but that is going to be something I'm going to talk about in the next video. So if you want to see that, subscribe and like my dudes. That would be swell. I'm also setting up the Google Play Store page so I can get player testing started. So stay tuned for that too. And that's all for this week, guys. Cheers.